guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to be what I do what I do. Okay, so my mission here today, this is an xforce, an old xforce gray label. Pretty hashed out, man. This thing is in pretty rough shape, but I take turds like this and I turn them into beautiful works of art. So I gotta make sure I got enough of these output transformers. I know I got some. I got some of these. I know I do. We are gonna take this very chopped up box and we're gonna turn it into a beautiful 8 pill or 12 pill. It's missing screws here, missing screws here, and the board's all corroded. I think pretty much most of the transistors in this thing, what are left of the transistors, are junk. So I think what we're going to do is strip this sucker completely down, and we're just going to build a whole new amp. That's all there is to it. So on that note, away we go. All new power wire, new coax connector, 2 new coax connectors probably. Got to pin nut this hole. All right, here we go. So if you haven't figured it out yet, this there it goes. That's what I was looking for. This cabinet is a series of complete and utter smashed assholes. So the guy said that he took it to a CV shop at one point or another down where he's at, and when he went in to go talk to the guy about it, the guy was literally in watching one of my videos trying to copy what I do, which is flattering in one aspect and kind of interesting in another, but we pulled the pulled the heatsink and board out because, well, I wanted to clean the dirty jizzle out of it. I like to have a clean workspace, right? So you got to start from the ground up. So take this old rusted stuff out of here. We'll put brand new stainless steel hardware in its place. A little bit of the 632 Persuasion by 1/4 inch long. And I'll put new coax connectors in this thing for him, and basically gonna build him a whole new box. Has to be done. Has to be done. And I haven't done a very long video for a while. I mean, I've done some, but they haven't been, you know what I'm saying. No. Old PIM nuts. I don't feel like stripping an old PIM nut today. I don't know about y'all, but that does not make a good day. Does not. Okay. 4 new screws. All cleaned up. Cabinet's now square again. Put the bend out of the back. See, when I got this thing, this back portion of the tin was folded in, right? Clean that again. It looks like ass. Clean all the old dirt, dust. I mean, shit just gets dirty. It's just the way it happens. Now, my biggest fear is this. They couldn't drill that square. I mean, for holy bejesus sakes, I mean. I don't know. I used to have these fancy danch switches that had these big old on-off. I'm gonna do something different here. I'm gonna do something different right here. You'll see. So I want to reuse some of this stuff, but most of it I can't because it's so hashed. The thing I want to do is I got to clean this whole section of the board off completely so I can get down here and I mean I can solder to some of this, but this is yeah. Okay, so just got done washing it and we got all the nasty off of it. So now we're down to fairly clean copper per se. But we still got to get all this oxidization off the board. And then we got to take the heat sinks off and we got to punch out a couple more holes. I think I'm going to do it on this side of the heat sink. So next step, let's brighten up the copper. I mean, if you're going to take it all the way down, might as well go all the way down, right? I'll just like pop one leg out and go at it. I mean, yeah, I'm talking about with your woman. If you're going to do it, take it all the way down and be thorough. Right now you're probably asking yourself, BBI, why are you wasting your time with this? Why don't you just build them a whole new box? Well, there's some sentimental reasons that go behind this amp. Apparently he bought this thing for himself on his birthday. And they're so back ordered on cabinets right now. This is where we're at. Okay. We got about 90% of the corrosion off the board. Now I got to temporarily remount this. And we're going to use the old hardware to temporarily remount it, old rusted hardware. Then I got to go through and jig up, and then I got to punch the other 4 holes for the other 4 transistors. And then I'm going to drill those holes out on the drill press. And then I chamfer the holes to make sure that they're good and square. And clean. Probably give the board one more little go over, and then we'll start stacking parts back on here. But I got to punch out these 4 holes. And hopefully pray to Jesus, hand to God, Mother, Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. I'll break a bit off in a heatsink, or most of this will be for naught. Okay, holes drilled, heatsinks polished. Now, I can't stand working in this mess. So I'm going to clean all this up, and then we're going to start the reassemblage process where we're going to start putting it back together. I should probably drill my extra power holes in this thing, you think? And what I'd like to do to have a new board, but the other problem is xforce is no longer with us, from what I understand. I don't know, I'm not involved in that man's business, don't care. But his holes, the way he's got the holes pattern is different than Fat Boy's and different than everybody else's in the market. So we're stuck with what we got. It's clean, and I got a good clean soldering surface. That's all I care about, really. God knows I've worked on way more corroded and made it run way super cool. So we'll see what we end up with here. So if I use 8-gauge wire like this, I have room in the cabinet for one more wire. What do I do? I have a solution. Let's see if you can figure it out as I go. Beautiful spring morning. Birds chirping. 64 degrees out here in a shop. This is my job. I freaking love my life. I guess in the car world this would be considered a frame off. A frame off restoration. Just sitting out here listening to the birds chirp. I love it. Well, the next step I guess would be to transistor it and repill strip it, because the ones that were in here, this garbage here, is so hashed up from the previous guys that come before me that I don't feel like working with it. So yeah, needless to say, right? All brand new mounting hardware. And I'm debating if I even want to use the old output transformers or not. Debating. I'll probably reuse those. I just got to clean them up really good. I gotta find two that match them. I know I bought a whole lot of those a while ago. Just don't remember what box they were in. Okay, let's put some solder to it real quick. I wanted to show you something. These things come in flats of 20s, right? I want to show you this. I was impressed with this. This has been last 4 or 5 months. There's 40 in this package, another 20 here, so that's 60, 80. Let's see here. 100, 120, 160. So it's 180. Oh, shit. Two, 220, 240, 260. Let's see here. 300, 320. 340 transistors and repairs. Oh, 340. Forgot about these. 340, 360, 380, 400, 420, 440. So 440 transistors in about, I think, 3 or 4 months. Damn. Damn. So there's a bunch of little details that get left out in all these little videos that I don't even think about them, and I don't ever think to share with you guys. And honestly, one of the biggest secrets is that in this video, because remember, in the great words of Tyler Durden, not even a hummingbird could catch him.
Contribution to the film. Nobody knows that they saw it, but they did.
Nice big cock.
Even a hummingbird couldn't catch Tyler at work.
In the great words of Tyler Durden, not even a hummingbird could catch him at work. Love Fight Club. God, I love Fight Club. If you take an HD transistor on one of these older xforces like this, some of them you'll find that the dies for the pill pockets are going to be unbelievably tight. And the glue bond between the top of the transistor and the foot is really delicate. So what most guys do is they try to jam down on the top of the transistor. It won't make it fit. No matter how hard you jam, it won't fit. So I got a special Dremel bit that I use. It's a diamond encrusted thing. It's bedazzled. And like before this, after I got done cleaning up and drilling out the heatsink pockets, or the holes for the transistors, I took the pockets of the transistors themselves in the board, and I went over with this little bit and a router jig going, woot. And you just knock a very minuscule amount out. But there's slight difference. Now, when he started using the DEIs 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, he had to change the pill pockets. And thusly everything changed around it too. So there's lots of little nuances to this that you just learn as you take shit apart, break shit, fix shit. It's all part of the job. Hence the reason you've got to focus down on one or the other, amps or radios. There's so much stuff with the radios and there's so much stuff with the amps. The guy that says he can do both, and do both at like a mastery level, nah, no such thing. You can do both semi-well, but you can't do it at like an extreme mastery level and be able to do it like a ton of it all at once. I've never seen that work. I've seen a lot of guys try, but I don't know. I picked the amps a long time ago. I fell in love with it. I know enough about radios to be really, really dangerous. I'll say that much. Oh, shit. Okay, so now that we're coming down to the tail end of this Charlie, two more to go. I've had several people approach me here in this last week, looking for the ability to apprentice. As It's really hard to support you guys, especially from all the way across the country. Just saying. Okay. So I'm considering it. Got a lot of guys I've worked with in the past, and they all get their heads full of things, and or you get them going, and then this is not as easy as it looks. It's really not. So then you get somebody going, and then they get frustrated with it, or they have a couple bad customers, or they run into things they can't quite figure out how to fix, and poof, they're gone. It's all that time and energy gone. On my part, their part, all parties involved. So I don't know. I'm considering it, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, pill strips. So, could not find my transformers. It's okay. I'll just use some of my own. As you guys can see up there, it's got all brand new 10 ohm resistors on it. All brand new 120 puff capacitors. And these things are $9 a piece or $8 a piece, so I've gotta scavenge these. And I might reuse the input transformers. Maybe. So let's go ahead and, since we're dealing with this bucket of dicks, let's go ahead and strip these down. So it's all about time, right? So is it quicker to reuse the old parts, or is it just easier and faster to use new parts and put all new parts on here? I remember way back, we're getting in a Wayback Machine now, you and I remember a friend of mine telling me that he had a conversation with Carl one time at Xforce, and how Carl said that some of this stuff would come in all burned up and chewed up like this, and it was more cost effective for him to just simply take the entire mess, pull the board, the heatsink out of the cabinet, and start completely over, and throw the rest in the trash, than what it was to actually reuse the parts. And I remember thinking to myself, well, that's something. Like, wow, how can that even be? That didn't even compute in my head. So now we fast forward 5, 6, 7 years, it makes total sense. Sometimes to mismatch parts or get things just exactly the same all the way around, it's just easier to throw things away and build all new than it is to reuse in certain circumstances. It's like I spent an astronomical amount of time cleaning up and repurposing this cabinet and this board and the heatsink, where I could have just taken most of it and thrown it in the trash and had all brand new put together in less time. Which I thought was interesting. I just was sitting here thinking about that, going, wow, that's, But it is what it is. We're going to make this happen one way or another. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye. Okay. Now to put these together. All right. Let's put these last two on here. Solder flux, good for the lungs. Even match the arc of the capacitors. When I spec'd this out to the customer, I did not think I was going to have to do a complete teardown. But I've told him from the very beginning that this box was incredibly rough, and he says he didn't care to do my quote McNasty to it. So here we are. These kind of projects are very laborious and time consuming. I've got two real big ones that I've been working on every night. I've got a 24 pill I'm working on, and I've also got a 16 pill and a 2x4 project I gotta finish up. Hopefully they'll be done by the end of this week, or the end of this month. I didn't think I was gonna have to strip this completely down, but once I started really looking at it, I was like, wow, this is a lot more labor intensive than I thought. Oh well. Bang this out today and then get on to something else tomorrow. I need skip. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I need to get some skip. Need to get some radio talk time. If you know what I'm saying. Because there's a whole lot of nothing going on right now. Just flat static out there. Guess that's what happens when you're the grand solar minimum. We're gonna sit around and wait. Boy, the guys that have tried copying this little power wire design, they all tell me the same thing. Dude, that is so hard on our hands, it sucks. Well, it's the discipline, man. That's the fun bit of it, right? I mean, what fun would it be if everything was just wrap 3 wires around a little tiny ferrite and man, this makes the box run so much cooler doing it this way. It really does. It just looks goddamn pretty. It just looks pretty. It's like the hot chick from high school. She might have been a complete pain in the ass to put up with, but at the end of the day, you're still banging a hot chick from high school. You know what I'm saying? Alright, I'm going to go back to watching TV. I'll bring you guys back in when I'm ready to put the transformers down. It's like lacing up a shoe. You do this enough, I feel like you're just tying your shoes. Okay, so I skipped ahead a couple little steps. I got the output transformers down, got the input transformers on, got the capacitors on everything, got the output transformers wound, and now I'm building up the last 4-pill section here. So I gotta make 3 combiners for the output side, and then I've got to make 1 input splitter, and then I get all that tied together. I can build the primary combiner, and then I'll build the primary splitter, and then we can go and drop this in the box. That's when it's really going to start to take off and go fast. So before I can drop it in the box, the last step is going to be to do the power wire. Like I said in a couple segments ago, we only had 2 power leads. Well, I expanded that to 6. We're going to use a little bit smaller gauge wire than 8, so we're going to double down. More wires, Means we can go through the same amount of holes on the back of the cabinet back here, but we'll still get the same amount of amperage delivery to the distribution bar, that, and we can spread it out more uniformly so that we have enough current going to each one of the 4-pill sections. Okay, let's build splitters and combiners now. One. Two. Do do do. There's two. And let's do three. Okay, so all the splitters, all the combiners are done, all the resistors are in, all the Class C chokes are to ground. The only little bit that's left to do, my daughter brought me half of her Blimpies cookie, is to tie in the output and sum all of this together. Back around to there. This one here. been staring at this all day. Unlike you guys who've been staring at it for like 30 minutes. It's kind of hard to remember. It looked like the big giant pile of smashed ass that it was when we started. Okay, so now what we gotta do is power wire, and then I gotta get ready to marry that with the cabinet. Input splitter is built. Modify that board here in a few minutes. I think I'll actually be able to reuse the same. Yeah, I can. I'll be able to reuse the same. No, I won't. I gotta change the coax lengths. So, power wire. So work just swimmingly, I think. I'm gonna have to hollow out these holes a little bit. Yes, sir. Yes, I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. All right. I have to jump over into tube linears for a couple days because I'm getting friggin' burned out on this solid state stuff. Seems like just it's been solid state bonanza over here lately. Just got so much stuff I gotta do. So that 10-tech Centurion is still for sale. Thought for sure that thing would have sold right away, but I think I'm going to reduce the price down quite a bit. I need to make that one disappear. Such a good box, but I think if nobody wants it, I'll keep it myself, but that thing is pretty. So the idea here is that I can make this stinger occupy roughly the same amount of space through the grommet as a single piece of 8 gauge, with a little bit of work, of course. So I've only got 3 holes, and I had to spread out my amp distribution. And what I mean by that is the amperage, the physical distribution of the network. I had to spread it out in length. Works swimmingly. Works swimmingly. Yay. We got to do it, even though no one's ever going to see it. We've got to secure these power leads, and for a lot of years nobody did this. They wouldn't even put a single zip tie down here. I hope everybody changed their ways after I did that one video. I think it was an X-Force or Fat Boy or something. Or no, it wasn't. Was it Dave made? No. It was an X-Force. It was a Blue Label X-Force that caught on fire and burned up. I did the video where one of these leads flipped underneath the heatsink. And the guy had a couple of his fans quit. And he kept mauling on it. And he got it so hot that the box melted down. And then he kept mauling on it. And eventually it got hot enough to where the power wires melted through. And then he had a fire. Remember? I don't know if you guys remember that or not. I did this video a while ago. There's a couple hundred, 500 or 600, 500 videos, 400 videos ago. So, I think I labeled it the X-Force that the fire came out or something like that. I don't know. Is what it is. This space here, down the middle of this heatsink, is really important that you manage this space. I mean, in some boxes you don't have to go in and check nothing. That, you know, since we're doing a full power wire replacement on this thing, I've got to make sure that everything is right, because I can't go and blame nobody if anything goes wrong. Since I took it all the way down to the heatsink, but down to the bare copper, I gotta own it and make it safe for the customer. Okay. Throw a couple little squares in this son of a gun. Now to work it into the cabinet. So my daughter just got her own customized jacket today. My wife is all him's majad. Okay, this does look really good in it though. Let's see if all this extra effort was worth it. Which I'm pretty sure it's easily going to be. Yep. Okay. So let's see. Then the middle's got to go in. But really, all you got to do is be able to think upside down, backwards in the third dimension. Okay. This goes here. Still not too sure what I want to do with that oblong giant hole that's in the front of this thing, but I'm sure we'll figure out something here in a minute. Oh, major pain in the ass. Okay. in there. Sweet. All right. Looks great. Nothing's touching. Nice big long power leads coming out of the back of it. Remember, I made a mental note that one screw is bigger than the rest for some reason. This doesn't even look like the same amp anymore on the inside. God, this thing was a bag of mess when I started. Okay, then we're going to do relay, which means coax connector, grounding nubs, those kind of things. Relay, do the output network, and then we'll do the input network last. Piece of steel hanging out of my finger. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That turned out well. Remember I did a 32 pill once, And everybody, all they did was talk about how I braided the power wire. I thought that was really interesting. Wow, really? That's what we're going to talk about? But that's what they did. So, let it be. Okay. All right. Held in place with 3M industrial adhesive. A little cloth tape. Real heavy duty, high temp resistant. Real Mac Daddy stuff. Points are cleaned. I don't know why they couldn't use just a... Oh well. Into the effort bucket. Alright. So... I feel like I'm doing a facelift on Zsa Zsa Gabor or something. I don't know why. This amp is taking me down memory lane. One of my very first semi-decent, I don't want to say big box because it wasn't really, but for around here it sure put me in an elevated status, but that is too long and it looks ugly. It was a 16 pill X-Force I bought from one of the locals, and sure had a lot of fun with that box. I ripped it apart probably 15 times and changed a bunch of stuff in it, you know. And that's how you start in the beginning. Buy yourself something, break it a couple times, rebuild it a couple times, figure out what you did to break it. We all start the same way. None of us popped out of mama saying, "Oh, I know everything." No, that's not how that works. And the guy that tells you that, full of shit. I was on the phone with a dude earlier today. We were talking about something, and he goes, "Man, I don't know nothing about electronics." I said, "Yeah, me too." He just started to chuckle, and I'm like, "No, I'm serious. I don't know shit." It's like that Jesse James story that I always tell. And I'll spare you all the story, but you've all heard it a couple times. Where he goes up to the kid that supposedly knows everything. He says, "So what are you doing?" The kid jumps right into this huge rattle of, "That's what I'm doing, that's why I'm doing it. I'm the man," right? Jesse goes over to the old timer that's been literally been there, done that, seen it all, and got the t-shirt, and asks him what was he doing, and the guy goes, "I don't know, is there a different way I should be doing this?" Remember, this is the grand poobah car builder dude, you know? That's always been my opinion. I don't know. Tell me a different way to do it. I did it to this guy on the phone. He just started chuckling at me. He's like, whatever, dude. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I sure have come a long way in a short amount of time. But man, this box takes me back because it... Only difference is it was a 16 and a 24 pill cabinet. Man, I sure learned a lot from that. Cool. All right. Oh, ground. Well, I grabbed some silver plated strap versus the nickel coated steel strap that was in here. And pre-tinned it, punched a hole in it, put all the himmy-majibbies in there. So let's see, how can I do this and not obstruct your view? Because comfortable for me would be like this, and I don't think you guys want to look at the back side of my arm. So do this. This is one of my favorite parts, by the way. Okay, here we go. Everybody see okay? Huh? Use gravity to our aid here. There we go. Okay, well, I guess I need to finally address the on-off issue. Let me put the input network in this thing, and a little inductor coil, a little bit of output capacitance. Play with their input capacitance a little bit. It's off to the races and running. I think this is a far cry from where we first started. I don't know about you. You gonna hang out with Dad? Huh? You gonna hang out with Pops? Well, gentlemen, we're gonna pick up right where we left off 2.5 days ago, believe it or not. I finished this thing up about 2.5 days ago. Went through and I washed the fans, got them all cleaned up, and got everything hooked back up. Now, please bear with me, I don't quite really remember where I left off. So let's see. Stripped the thing all the way down to the bare board, polished the board, got all the stains and crud and crap and crapola and jism sickles cleaned off of this thing. All new pill strips, all new brand new transistors, new power distribution network, new output power wire, new ground leads. Bent the cabinet out so the back of it was straight, because when it came in here the cabinet lid was folded all the way over in the back. Repaired the PIM nut hole in the back, cleaned up all the relay connections, shortened wires in the back, changed the tuning network, new output induction coil, brand new combiner, all brand new 316 DS mini coax, otherwise dual shield 316 coax. Added a capacitor bank, all brand new output transformers. We recycled this capacitor, this capacitor, this capacitor, and that capacitor. that capacitor and this input transformer, this capacitor, that input transformer, this capacitor, this input transformer, and this capacitor and that input transformer. It's got a whole brand new input network, whole brand new splitter, and all brand new 316 mini coax, not DS, just single shield mini coax going out to each one of the 4-pill sections. 2 brand new coax connectors, brand new on-off switch, and we repaired the oblong hole that was here in the side of the cabinet and put a new LED in it. I got one last little responsibility I have to do. Because I'm proud of this one. This thing was a can of smashed ash holes. It was a giant bag of shit when it came in here. And short of the cabinet, it's about a 95% brand new box. Now around here someplace, this gentleman's got himself a little 1-pill, or 2-pill that I got to go through. But that's for another day. Now, because I finished tuning this thing and then literally had to walk away, because I had to go work the other job and spend some time with my family, because I've spent day after day after day after day after day for the last 2 weeks out here just desperately doing everything I can to get caught up. If the videos have not demonstrated that, I don't know what will. I'm doing what I can. I literally dropped and walked. So let's see, what radio do I got hooked up? I got the Striker hooked up. Go up here, turn the Striker on. Reach down here, turn on the bench power supplies. That'll bring us up to 14 volts. Turn on that multimeter. Get it going. So I got our 1000 watt slug. It's now in peak in 1X. 1000 watt slug in average, 5 watt slug in reverse, back from the Bird 10,000 watt dummy load, which my dummy load is now leaking and I'm having problems with it, so it's time for me to think about purchasing a new one. We're going to work on that this next week. I got my eyes on a couple. Let's see, 955 and a 5 watt slug between the 955 and the 2-pill, and then eventually the new 12-pill. This came in, had 4 transistors in it, and it looked like a bag of smashed dicks. And it's leaving out of here absolutely a work of art. And my heart really went out to this guy, because what he said in his letter kind of hit me in the right place. It made me think about some things. I bought this used from a longtime friend. It was working until it blew some pills in it. I took it to several CB shops, it showed, who called themselves technicians, until I went down to buy a new radio for my base station and saw one of the techs literally watching one of your videos on trying to fix it. He paid the guy his labor. I took my box home, where it sat until you returned my phone call. Please rebuild this box the way it was meant to be. I wanted to make it into either a 12-pill or take it all the way to a 16-pill. All the way BBI, upgrade, amp porn, please. This box was purchased as a birthday gift for me to enjoy. Thanks, and with honor. Well, brother, I'm here to tell you, in my humble opinion, my uneducated opinion, I think we built it better than what it was when it was originally manufactured. The only thing I have left to do this, so I will do after we conclude this video, is I will shoot this with a layer of clear. And the reason we do that is to keep it looking the same way. Because 10 years from now, 5 years from now, because of that sealant, the layer of sealant, there won't be any corrosion on the board. If there is, it's going to be very minimal. And all you're going to have to do is blow it out. I'm going to go back and I'll lock the tuning tube down with some capped on tape. We'll make sure that this thing can never move. But this thing is set. Now let me reach down here, and we're going to turn on the workbench supply, which should be set at about 13 volts, somewhere in there. Let's get our voltmeter reading here for us. We're at 1537. Resting. And when we go into operation, this will fall. It's going to fall down to about 14.3, 14.5, where you're going to operate it at. So what we see coming out of the bird meter is going to be close to what you're going to have going on. So first, let's shut off the bench 2 pill. We're going to leave the amplifier off. Grab the microphone for the striker. Pass-through tune's not that bad. Remember, we're talking through the 2 pill. About 80-90 watts worth of drive. 80-90 watts worth of drive. Just lays it over in the corner with ease. 350 bird. And look at what's happening to our voltmeter. So we're not volting it. That's important. Alright. So now we're going to shut the 12 pill off. And we're going to leave it on 1X is what we should do. And we're going to bring the 2 pill on. That's 500 peak watts. And about 200 bird. Which, in an optimum world, that's what you'd want to hit it with. It'd be like a 1x2, right? 80 watt radio, hitting a 2 pill. Like a 1x2. Come on now. We all knew that was going to happen. We'll go on up here to the 2X position. Lay it in the corner again. Now we're going to go down to the 5X position. Now what that means is we're going to read that middle scale, folks. We're going to put 2 zeros on it. So 10s 1,000, 20s 2,000, 30s 3,000, 40s 4,000, right? It's 3,000 peak watts. It means each 4 pill section is producing 1,000 peak watts. Is basically what we should have. And it can take a little bit more drive than this. Like you could loaf a 4 pill into this. You wouldn't want to do much more than that. That's on 14.3 volts measured internally on the amplifier. 14.3 volts. So think about that. Got down. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Please note what we're doing to the average meter. Not teabag. Now, what we're going to do next is scary. So we're going to go up in volts. But before we go up in volts, we got to close up the lid. I am going to put all new hardware on this thing for you, by the way. We'll put a couple screws in it so we make sure we got ourselves a good ground. This amplifier has been a labor of love. I'm not a big fan of doing these giant nightmare projects like this, but let's not lie now. It has kind of made me a household name. So, with the lid on, usually see a little bit of performance difference, but not much. About 980 bird if I yell in the damn microphone. So let's go ahead and reach down here. Power supply. Go right up on 17 volts, which will work out to be about 16.5 inside the cabinet. There's 3,500 peak and 1,000 bird with a very low bird drive radio. guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'm going to stop right there before I end up costing me some transistors, trying to showboat and make a big deal about nothing. Guys, I'm incredibly lucky with what I get to do out here. I'm incredibly grateful for everything that I do get to do, for everybody involved. I got a ton of projects, and if I haven't gotten to you yet, trust me, your time is coming. Everything is in an order for the most part, except for these two last particular boxes. I called one gentleman, and it was actually this guy I called first. I said, hey man, it's your time to turn. Then his brother calls me up about 10 minutes later and says, hey, I just got off the phone with my brother. I said, well, good for him, good for you. He goes, no, that's a problem. Because I sent my amplifier in a full month after his, or a full month before his. I was like, God damn. So that's the reason that the xforce 1x4 got rebuilt before this one. It had to go in an order. So I apologize, I'm trying to stay ahead of those kind of things happening, but like I said, I'm not in charge of that no more, my wife is. So guys, listen, I cannot stress to you how grateful I am for everybody and their support, the overwhelming love that everybody's showing me in the radio community, and everybody constantly calling and texting and telling me to keep doing the videos, they enjoy them, and I'm going to keep up the work. On that note, same breath as I had when I came out here, I've got to get this done, and I've got to move on to the next project. So, as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Now, bump from the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come check us out on Facebook. Come check us out on the .com, www.pbimps.com. Appreciate you guys. From this note and from this point forward, I've got to go. I'll see you. Appreciate you, gentlemen, once again. Bye-bye.